Logan Paul versus Dillon Danis, the prediction. I wore this shirt for you, Dillon. Just so you know, I know you like to search your own name on the internet. I thought you might like it. It's sort of his vibe. And of course, I'm going to support Logan in this. I want Logan to win, but that doesn't mean I'm just going to say Logan will win just because I want him to. Dillon is a legit black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, that has absolutely no bearing on how this fight is going to go whatsoever, but it does give us some idea that Dillon can pick things up. He's skilled in martial arts and he's tough. You have to be tough to do that. And he was a sparring partner for Conor McGregor for a good few years, where Conor, by his own admission from Dillon, beat the living shit out of him, broke his face basically. Just to let yourself be a crash test dummy for Conor McGregor, you have to have a level of toughness. So we should expect Dillon to be a tough opponent to some degree for Logan. If Logan wins this in emphatic fashion, it's a solid win in the influencer boxing space, that is. Now, let's not kid ourselves. The reason everyone is really excited for this fight is because Dillon Danis has been an absolute arsehole. And look, a lot of people have been entertained by him, and I can't even say I don't find him entertaining at times myself. When I watch him on Ariel Helwani's show, he's funny. He is genuinely a funny guy. And that shows he doesn't need to do like the low down shit he actually does. Like, he could still be funny and promote fights without going after people's misses. But that doesn't change the fact that like there's some real lines been crossed here. And when Logan Paul gets in that ring with Dillon Danis, surely there's going to be an element of, you have really upset my woman, and now I'm going to take it out on your face. And that's what we're excited to see. You've challenged someone who really rates himself in Logan Paul. He has a lot of self-confidence, a lot of self-worth, and now Logan has got to defend his woman's honor. It's the classic storyline. And as much as I think Dillon shouldn't have gone down that road, I can't deny it's heightened my interest in this fight. Although Logan is the favorite, Logan has not knocked anyone out in one of his fights before either. So officially, this should be a 50-50 fight, but that's where the footage comes in. So we're going to look at Dillon first. It's hard. There's not a lot. So this is Dillon and Conor McGregor playing around here, just very light sparring. You can see his judgment of range is not as good as Conor's, but like, who would be? Yeah, you can't really take anything from this, I'm not going to lie. This one looks more proper boxing sparring. It's from a while back, this. When you watch Dillon, he doesn't throw like an explosive puncher. You know, he doesn't look like he's got power. And that's immediately a big weakness. It's not particularly fast, or he's just leaning over his feet here, and it's very messy. I'm not being a twat about this. Like, this is from a while back. He could have improved since then. And also, he's a grappler. You know, I'm not expecting it to be, Nassim Hamed. So this is a guy who he fought, lost 4, won 2. So not a particularly good MMA fighter. He's quite light on his feet here. Diving in for the takedown. Obviously, that's his comfort zone. Immediately takes a punch right in the chin. And did not anticipate it in the slightest, I have to say. Just didn't even see that coming. And yeah, it was just a straightforward jab. The guy is a southpaw he's fighting, so that makes it a bit harder. Takes a whack over the head again. I mean, this is a few years back, so I'm not going to say he looks like this now. And the range of MMA fighting is a lot more spaced apart, so that when people jump in, they can catch you off guard a bit more than regular boxing. Oh, God, he looks terrible. He's not reacting to any punch getting thrown at him right now. He's in the dead space constantly, where he's there to just be caught by a big punch. And he just looks like a regular jiu-jitsu guy with no striking background in an MMA fight, which is what we originally had in MMA. He's like a throwback in many respects. And there you go. He ties up, gets the takedown, and submits him. We got some other hands here from him. This is him on pads before he pulled out of the KSI fight. So in theory, he should be better than this now. I mean, there's no power or speed on these. I suppose it's just tech work for him, but this is the thing. This was when he pulled out, and you can only hope he's better than this now, because he looks trash. This is him more recently, I believe, so we might get a bit more out of this. Oh, he's got his hands down. If he fights with his hands down and his reactions are as bad as they look, it's a bad idea, man. I mean, those body shots are just pathetic. I'm not trying to be an ob here. I just want to give my honest opinion. He throws these body shots. There's just no turning them. There's no speed. They're going to do nothing. Logan Paul will not even feel that. Apparently, he's been doing a bit of work with Alex Pereira, the former middleweight champion of the UFC, potentially the light heavyweight soon. And this is a good size. difference for him because Logan's a tall guy. He's going in for the takedown. Obviously, that doesn't really help us here. He just has no anticipation of when punches are coming at him. Like, I feel like Logan is going to hit him and Dillon will not be able to see where the shots are coming from at all because he just doesn't have that skill. Some fighters, you see Floyd Mayweather, the eyes are wide open and he watches the shot all the way and he knows just how to be within an inch of range of that punch and not get hit. Dillon has no reflex at all. I don't know if he needs his eyes tested or something. I think this is the most recent one of them sparring a little bit. I mean, look, Dillon goes to loads of different MMA gyms, and when you do that, you've got to be fairly tough because you will just get beat up a lot. I've got to give him credit. Like, we're obviously not seeing him look like a good boxer, but he has to be tough to do this. Now we've got him and Pereira again, actually doing a bit of boxing work here. He's working on keeping his guard up, but then when I watch him actually spar, he has his hands down and he's got his chin out when he's got the worst reflexes I've seen in avoiding punches. So God only knows what the hell he's going to do in there. This was a little bit of footage we've seen recently where Dillon is, I mean, I don't want people to think I'm being a hater here. It just looks crap. It looks like he's never boxed before in his life and he's had no training in how to box. And he hasn't got a coach, so that makes sense. He didn't have one for KSI. He hasn't got one now. He just seems to roam from gym to gym, making it up as he goes along. The weird thing is like, this man became a really high-level martial artist. So, like, all you do is you look at the process he went through to do that and repeat that in boxing. And I'm not saying that would work because sometimes you just don't have the fundamentals naturally to go all the way in a sport. Like, his predisposition is to be a grappler. The man learned how to be a black belt under a sensei, you know? Like, you need a coach. You know this. So why are you just winging it? He'll be frustrated with himself later on in life when these valuable years, go up in smoke. So this is some pad work from before the KSI fight was supposed to take place, and he's not going 100%, at least I fucking hope not. And we're getting to see some of the technique here, and even if he's not going 100%, you can just see there's nothing behind these punches. He just doesn't have the athleticism to be a good striker. So it's hard to imagine from what I'm saying right now, even though Logan himself hasn't necessarily proved anything yet, I can't look at this and go, yeah, he can knock someone out. He just doesn't look like he can do that. And sometimes you get that in MMA. They're just grapplers. They can't knock people out. And their thing is, you got to hope that you can hold your own enough to get the fight to the ground. That's what he fights like. It's like Ben Askren all over again. Okay, let's have a look at Logan since there's so little on Dillon. So this is 2 years ago from when Logan was fighting Floyd Mayweather. It stands to reason that Logan should be at least this good 2 years later. You see that little combination there, right? I'm not saying it was anything world class, and I'm not saying Logan himself would look at that and go, that's just a normal combination. But Dillon can't do that. What we've just seen there, he can't do that. You see that level of like just explosive, fast twitch power that Logan has in his arms, in his movement. Dillon just doesn't have that. If his life depended on it, he couldn't do it. I like that uppercut. He throws that quite well. You're supposed to scoop it like an ice cream scoop, and he does that quite well. I like it. Whack. Yes. And where Dillon Danis doesn't have a coach, by the way, Logan has a guy who's coached someone to a world title before. And he's been with him for years. So he understands boxing to a really good degree compared to Dillon. That's, again, just another fact. So Logan actually boxed 4 guys in a row. I think they were NFL guys. So we can have a look at that. So this is Logan just playing around here. And literally, you know, using his footwork, he's hard to hit for these big dudes. I think that's just going to be the hardest thing about this fight for Dillon, is he's going to be in there with a guy who's bigger than him, who hits harder than him, and is faster than him, and get out the way of his punches. It's a recipe for disaster if you're Dillon Danis, in my opinion. We'll look at the Mayweather fight, and the thing to bear in mind when we're watching this fight is Dillon Danis ain't Floyd. Looking at the Mayweather fight, it's hard to get a read on Logan in terms of how he's going to look like against Dillon, because Mayweather is the best, you know, so you're in there with a guy who's hard to hit, who is, you know, jumping out of the way of every punch you're throwing. We all remember this moment of of Logan like going crazy in there, and just trying to enforce his will on Floyd. Floyd, being the great boxer that he is, covered up and took it quite comfortably. But the thing that impressed me the most about this fight was the speed of Logan for the size of him, and how he was able to even avoid some of Floyd's punches. He has good natural reflexes, and this has been worked on for a good few years with Milton, his boxing coach. The whole hands down and avoiding punches style that Milton employs. If you're in there with a puncher, it might be a bit dangerous. Dillon ain't a puncher. We've confirmed that. The biggest risk for Dillon is when he's throwing. If you're Dillon, you want to get out there with pride. You want to not feel like you were just steamrolled by Logan. So maybe employing a defensive strategy where he doesn't throw too often and just pick his spots might give him more credibility in the long run, because I've got a feeling if he goes in there and just tries to trade with Logan, this fight will be over very quickly. That's the way I see it happening, to be honest with you. The more I look at this, the more I think Dillon will go in there. He'll be like a deer in the headlights, and he'll commit to a shot, and Logan will slip it, and he'll pull counter, and he'll come back in with his body weight. It'll be a right hand, boom, and Dillon won't know what the is going on at that point. And the problem for Dillon is he portrays himself as a badass who says what he wants. The trolls love him, and now he's got to go in there and answer to Logan in that ring for everything he said about his wife. And here is where the trolls will desert him, because Dillon is like the 6ix9ine of fighting. 6ix9ine, he portrayed the image of a gangster, but when it was time to be gangster, I think you've got the wrong guy here. I'm actually not about that life. That's when all of the record sales, all of the views, and all of the trolls desert you. That's what happened to 6ix9ine, and it's exactly what's going to happen to Dillon Danis. And a year from now, are we talking about Dillon Danis? If he can't win this fight or even show a respectable offering, his whole brand has f***ed, and he'll be yesterday's news. So I think the game plan for Dillon has to be to put up as best a fight as he can, because I don't see him winning this. In fact, I see him losing it pretty easily. I hope that Dillon can at least use this to springboard. F him, I don't give a f***. F him, f the I'm not even bothered. You reap what you sow, and what all of these little bitch trolls are going to find out on that day is when you troll people who can beat the living f*** out of you and you meet them in person, well, this is what happens. So enjoy the show. I know I will. Let's see what Dillon's really made of. So let me know what you think in the comments below about this fight. Technically, have I broken it down unfairly? Is Dillon better than I thought? Get your predictions in, hit the like button. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.